Hello, my name is Niran.
My name is Pepper, and welcome to the AOR Talkshow.
Here we go.
So, hello and welcome to this AOR Talkshow. Today we'll be talking about what happened last Sunday on the Austin Grand Prix, or the United States Grand Prix, and we'll also predict what may happen on this Sunday's Chinese Grand Prix. Nevertheless, talking about what happened in Austin, if you don't know, make sure you click on the annotations on the screen right now to go and watch the full race on James' channel. But nevertheless, it was a very interesting race where rain appeared and very interesting strategy calls were made, and also a bit of chaos created not only by the rain but by the drivers itself. But Shane, or King Rockhammer, managed to get his first win of the season on the Williams, ahead of Hammer Time and home runner 007 Professional. Niran, what a great race we had. I mean, it was the less attendant race, only with 10 drivers, since Dan had his issues on the wheel, but nevertheless it was not a race with nearly not enough excitement.
Yeah, it was a really good race, despite the fact. I mean, who were we missing? We were missing Dan because of his wheel issue. Beloff just wasn't there again. Philip Daring disconnected before the race started, and there were a few other people that didn't turn up as well. But yeah, so 10 people on the grid at the start, and it was a mad race basically all the way through. I don't think it would have been massively interesting for the rest of the race if the rain hadn't come. But there was action and carnage for the first half, and that made it exciting. And then the weather stepped in halfway through the race, and then that just carried on the excitement to make sure it was literally sick all the way through. The one thing there wasn't really a battle for at any point was a battle for the lead. Shane grabbed pole, which I think meant that neither of us got the prediction right as far as pole is concerned. And I'm guessing neither of us got it right in terms of the race result as well. Well, in terms of the winner, I remember James saying in the stream that me and Pepper had got it wrong, probably, and that is probably how it turned out. But yeah, King Rockhammer in the Williams, or Shane, if you know him personally, pretty dominant win for him. But all the action happened behind, and it started on lap 1, where we saw a bit of an incident down at the end of the back straight. I'm not going to go through it lap by lap, obviously, but you know what I'm saying. You've got to talk about the big things, and there was an accident including a lot of drivers, in all honesty, about basically just a situation of 3 into 1 hairpin corner don't go, and it caused carnage. Both the Ferraris wiped out, not obviously out of the race, but spun out. Brown was involved. He dropped to the back, I think, for a little bit, and Prost was involved as well. It saw the likes of Callum, who I think did he disconnect from qualifying, or did he just not put a lap in?
No, he just decided, no, screw qualifying, I don't want to take part of this.
Yeah, okay, well that's fair enough, it's his own decision, but he started at the back and he managed to work his way up to 4th, I think, by lap 1, because of all the crashing that had happened in front of him. I think it worked out well for F1 Argentina, or Arj Vettel as well in the Caterham, and Severlista in the Lotus. But yeah, it was a mad first lap, and it was a mad few laps after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we said on the previous talk show that the Ferrari never had conquered better than 5th at the US, and after that first lap, I don't think they were feeling very confident.
Yeah, the record didn't look as if it was going to change after that first lap, but yeah.
I mean, they did show strong pace, at least on the dries, despite Pepper making a bit more mistakes and going to primes on lap 5, which was a bit earlier than the regular options for the drivers. With Mazda is going to lap 7 on options, but it was a race that involved lots of different strategies, because obviously at the start of the race 74% chance of rain, so a lot of drivers thinking that the rain could come up very early in the race. That's why some decided to start on primes, like Callum and Prost. But it was very confusing at the start because no one really knew what strategy to do. And I remember that I think it was on lap 3 we got told that rain was 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
And chaos started to go around, but it was very interesting for the start, and obviously the Ferraris having to catch up, and Professional and Hammer Time always there fighting for second place, while Shane just on a Sunday walk, like just taking no worries, going. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
it was probably the most boring race ever for the Williams.
Yeah, definitely. It was a stroll in the park, like legit for Shane. There was just no competition at all. There was some good battling behind Hammer Time in the Sauber. Professional doing a better job than we've seen from him so far this season. He was in third, inspired to do something at his home Grand Prix in the Red Bull. And then F1 Vettel in the Caterham was like fourth, in and around there at the start. There was more carnage on lap 3. Callum and Brown decided to have a massive accident at the start of the lap, going like just before, the left and right part, just before there, they had a massive accident, and yeah, that blew it wide open actually, because that meant that 2 drivers that you would probably expect to be up there, and then the fact that Pepper, Mazais and Prost were further down the order because of the first lap accident, it meant that it gave a bit of a chance for some of the other drivers to have a bit of a go and get a good result where you probably wouldn't actually expect them to. The likes of Professional, maybe Hammer Time as well, Vettel in the Caterham, not Sebastian, but still. There was a few more little battles as well for second and stuff, but yeah, as you said, the rain came in the middle of the race, or it was meant to come. You got the call about it on lap 3 that it was going to come in 15 minutes. It ended up coming about the midway point in the race. I think it started raining on lap 10, didn't it, or something like that?
Yeah.
Which was a bit too late for the people that started on the primes. There was a lot of strategy calls all the way through the race, but anyone who started on primes couldn't really make their tyres last until the rain came out, so it wasn't really, in the end, it wasn't a great decision to start on the harder compound, but you can see why people tried that strategy, because when you can see that amount of rain is coming, you want to try and limit the amount of pit stops that you make.
Yeah, absolutely, and eventually everyone would try something different to be ahead of the remaining drivers, but I mean, I think the winning strategy may have been on that stage of the race, probably option might have been the best. I mean, although there were drivers doing prime option, or like Peppo who stopped really early option prime. However, it was interesting because even for Inters, there were like drivers pitting on very different laps. I think there was 3 laps where there were people pitting for Inters, with Hammer Time Professional and Pepper being the first on lap 13, I believe. Then Mazais and Prost. I'm not sure if Prost already retired at the moment, but there were another train pitting at a lap, and then Shane, which already had a massive lead, decided to pit 1 lap later just to make sure he was on the right compound, and then it was like 2 laps on Inters because the rain was really coming down. It was ridiculous, and this time it was Pepper pitting first, and in that case, contrary to what happened in Brazil last season, it was actually a good strategy call by him, pitting 1 lap earlier than everyone and extending the gap to his teammate Mazais, who was fighting Vettel at that point. But sadly, the pace, especially when you set up a car to a dry track, it really gets very hard to kind of balance your driving style with the conditions of the track, and that meant all of the drivers struggled a lot. Professional also sadly was struggling a lot to keep up with the hammer time, and they couldn't even use the same set of wets till the end. So
yeah, it was actually quite weird. There were people, I don't think I've ever seen this on an F1 game, there were people actually aquaplaning off the track, mainly when it was options to inters, but I think a few people were struggling like to stay on the track even when it was inters to wets. Like the downpour was massive. I think Vettel and Callum and Mazais, I think, were the ones that like massively struggled when it was the crossover from dries to inters. Yeah, it was a heavy downpour. The inters didn't last very long, and people went on to wets pretty much straight away. I don't know. There was from then on, I guess it was more of a strategic race. I don't know, there were too many battles going on. The top three were very spread out. Shane was leading, Hammer Time second, and Professional third. They'd stay in that order basically until the end. And I don't think they were really ever challenged. A few of them tried different strategies here and there, but mainly they were completely unchallenged. But towards from fourth downwards, people were just trying to undercut each other, trying to pit on different laps just so they could get the edge on each other. But yeah, as you said, when you're setting up a car for dry conditions, it means you're going to sacrifice the wet, very much sacrifice the handling and the drivability of the car in the wet conditions. And it was, I think a lot of people struggled for pace on the wets, and it was really evident when people were literally just skating off the track when it was time to put another set of a different set of tyres on. But yeah, it was an interesting race strategically from that point onwards. There were a few retirements, I think, in that sort of period as well. Prost disconnected, Brown disconnected towards the end as well. No, sorry, Prost didn't disconnect, he DNF'd. The reason for that is still unknown, but I think he was about 5th at the time. Yeah, so he retired, Brown disconnected, and it sort of left the top three obviously spaced out and away towards the front, and then the likes of Mazais, Callum, Vettel, Pepper, and Sevalista actually having a decent race, all to sort of just fight amongst themselves for the rest of it.
Yeah, and I think it's, I mean, we didn't really expect such. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it was such a poor performance from Callum. I mean, on the dries he was doing fine even after the contact with Brown.
Yeah.
But on the wets, I think the biggest losers of this race were really Pepper and Callum, because, I mean, they're technically they're the front runners. They're fighting for the title, but their pace on the wets was just, I don't know. I mean, it was just not existent. Callum was at some point being challenged by Civilista. Pepper was like with a massive gap in fourth for his teammate Mazais and Vettel behind, and all of a sudden he was more than 5 seconds behind the two. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Callum had a proper weird race, just in general. I know that was that incident. The strategy wasn't great, I don't think, to start on the primes. I don't think he made it to the rain coming down. I think he had to put options on like Prost did, and then have like a 3-lap stint and then put inters on. But he seemed to be the main one who was coping well with the conditions when the rain started coming down. So when people were on dry tyres, but it was a little bit too wet for dries, everyone else was just skating off the track, and Callum was just sort of minding his own business, driving around them, gaining a few positions. But then actually when everyone was on an equal playing field, he just didn't seem to have the pace. I was expecting him to rise past Vettel and and Mazais in front of him, and he never really got anywhere near doing that. And Pepper as well, obviously in front of him as well, I think. And he never really got close to doing that. It was a really, really strange race for Callum. I don't know whether maybe he had damage or something that wasn't picked up on the spectator cam after the incident or something, but he just didn't have the pace. Simple as that, I guess.
He had to save the engine.
yeah, like MG UK failure or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was not. the result we'd expect. I mean, Pepper 6 and Callum 7 for two drivers that are fighting for a title. It's not normal. Obviously, Dan, with his issue, couldn't race, so you'd see him on the commentary box with James, but Shane was definitely the biggest winner, and fully deserved as well. I mean, pole position, fastest lap, almost led every lap. I think, I don't know, maybe we underestimated him for our predictions, because
he has solid pace, like all race, all weekend.
I mean,
yeah, so very good race for him.
Our predictions were like
Yeah,
bad.
to be honest, I can't remember what mine were at this
I mean,
point.
I have a great memory for what my parents say. It's a waste of time, but you predicted Callum to win, so that's gone.
Yeah, that's gone completely.
And so did I. So in that case, we're even. You predicted Prost to be second. I predicted Shane. Well, Shane won, so invalid. You predicted Pepper to finish third. Well, another disappointment. And I predicted Dan, so another disappointment.
Jesus, so we didn't get any. We didn't get anything.
No, because we both predicted Callum for the position.
Oh, god damn it. See, to be honest, I think... Oh, I don't know. If maybe if Callum had actually done qualifying, maybe we would have actually had a shout there, but...
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe if Prost had finished the race as well. I don't know. But, yeah, anyway. We've a bit of a letdown on the prediction front. We'll try and be a little bit better later. But, yeah, anyway, I suppose the real results then, not our predicted results. Shane, obviously, with the commanding win in the end. Hammer time and professional at his home Grand Prix. Rounding out the podium. We said in the facts last week that we hadn't had an American stand on the podium at the American Grand Prix in this league. And that has finally happened in Season 11 with Professional, 007 Professional, taking third place as an American in Austin in this race. He was in front of Mazai. I think Vettel was fifth, and it was Pepper sixth. Callum with a very disappointing 7th, and Sevalista was the last of the finishers, but by no means was he like last all race. He just happened to finish there. It was a good, 8th is decent. It's just that we're only 8 finishes, and obviously then Brown and Prost either disconnecting or retiring. Philip Daring disconnected before the race. Dan didn't take part because of his wheel issues, and then obviously anyone else didn't go to the event.
Yeah, and nevertheless, I mean, Savalista also had his part of the fun with the two Ferraris in the middle of the race, so I think that was exciting for him.
One of the best moments of this season so far. Just he got absolutely swamped left and right by one Ferrari, and then on the other side another Ferrari. It looked so cool. He had some good battling as well with Sevalista. He had some decent pace all race, but I think in the end, like, his strategy on the last stint cost him a bit. But he was sort of up there like the whole race, like doing a decent job between like the 5th and 9th zone. So fair play.
Yeah, and I mean, as a rookie, to have to deal with such drastic conditions on the final laps with such a wet track, I mean, it's probably not easy. But yeah, as you said, Professional breaking one of our facts of last week, and Mazda's as well. Ferrari finally getting better than 5th.
Oh yeah, of course.
With a 4th place, which isn't too much better, but...
get in there. Next season, they'll get a podium. You never know.
Yeah. But I think that's our Austin roundup done. And... well, let's take a look at China.
When you want to get off the darkest ground, the gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too. When you want to get off the darkest ground, the gravity
welcome to the Shanghai International Circuit for round 4 of AOR Season 11. As we head into this very difficult turn 1, you want to be taking maximum speed in towards the first part of this corner before flipping it back to make the apex. Then going left for turn 2 before trying to get back on the throttle as we head through turn 3. That's a very tricky traction zone, and that's going to limit your speed as we head towards turn 4. This hairpin corner taking in either first or second gear as we now head towards the middle sector of this lap. Going through the left-hander flat out before trying to pick out a braking point as we head into the right-hander. Down into third or fourth gear before braking once again for these double apex left-handers. Now back on the throttle as we head towards the end of the second sector, and now we're going to be preparing ourselves for something very similar towards turn 1. Trying to hit the apex there before getting back over to the right hand side, and now trying to get onto the throttle while limiting the wheel spin, and getting a good exit from here is very much important as we now head down this very long back straight, opening up the DRS and using any remaining curves on this lap before trying to pick out a braking point for the hairpin. Between 100 and 150 meter board is your reference, and now getting back on the throttle as we've now only got one corner left to go here in Shanghai. Down into third gear, flinging the car in and then getting back on the throttle, and that completes a lap here in Shanghai.
You'd expect China to be around this point in the calendar in real life, but obviously, if you didn't know, the PlayStation 3 League has a randomised calendar, which is why we've just had Austin as the third round of the season. Yeah, China is round number 4. Not necessarily a track known for fantastic races in real life or on the game, in all honesty, but with the closeness that we've had in all of the races so far, I can't really predict us having a bad race at all this season, because there's just been stuff happening. Everyone has such similar pace, like all the way through the top 10, that basically whoever turns up, we're going to get some good battling between them.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, it's not a very technical track. I mean, it has his technical parts like turn 1, turn 2, and the long right-hander before the ridiculously long straight back straight. But apart from that, it's a reasonably fast track. Like, it has 2 hairpins, and that's probably the slowest part of the track, but it's not a track that offers a lot of overtaking possibilities except for the back straight and maybe turn 1.
Yeah.
Or even braking later for the hairpin at the end of the first sector, but nevertheless, I mean, drivers have done more with less, so
yeah. You get the feeling that whatever track all the drivers in the PS3 League get given, they'll make a good race out of it, because so far we've just had good races and good racing constantly.
Yeah, true. I think, there's still this massive fight for the title on our hands. I mean, it's everything very open. Yeah, I mean, despite the 19-point gap that Shane has currently over Dan and Pepper, and 21 points ahead of Callum, 22 ahead of Hammer Time, and 24 ahead of Maz, as I said. I mean, 24 points separating the top 6. It's not much.
Especially when the leader has a 19-point lead. Like, the majority of that gap is just first to second, and that's literally just because Shane happened to have a good race in Austin, whereas a lot of other people didn't have fantastic races. But second to 8th, isn't it? Second to 6th is covered by 7 points or something, which is insane in its own respect. And then even behind that, Professional, Brown, they're all battling as well. If the 2 Caterhams turn up on a regular basis, they'll get involved in that battle as well. It's so close, it's actually ridiculous.
And we can't forget, Pepper, Dan and Callum each missed one race so far due to a disconnection or not being able to start. Shane hasn't, so maybe it's his turn in China.
Well, yeah, you've got
I don't want to predict any of this.
Yeah,
I hope it doesn't.
Don't tempt fate. Shane, if you're watching, we're not willing you to retire.
No, not at all.
To be fair, if Shane had missed a race though, you've got to look at it in the sense that if he'd missed a race, how close would it be? The likelihood is it would be ridiculously close still. That's basically the only reason he has the championship lead. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but the reason that he's leading is because he's finished all the events, whereas his championship rivals haven't. And if that weren't the case, then it would be even closer than it is now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we really have a very interesting lineups and fights for this year's title. So I think China, I don't know, maybe it won't be as good as US or Brazil, but I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll have surprises, and again, the strategy coming into place and changing everyone's race, and who knows, maybe you can have Hammer Time, Professional and Brown also just going at it as best as they can, and even Prost, who won the preseason here with a different strategy. So it will be we have a very competitive field, and I think it will be I don't know, I mean, just don't miss the race on Sunday.
The problem is it's so difficult for us to predict what's going to happen. I mean, you've seen already. I mean, how many predictions combined have we got right this season? I think I've got one, and that was a pole position from Callum in Brazil, or potentially. I can't even remember. Something along the lines of that. You've got about three, I think.
No, I got two
predictions right. That's pole position, first, second, and third. We've predicted 3 times. So out of 24 predictions of this season so far, am I doing the maths right? No. We've only had 3. We've only had 3 races, haven't we? Out of
12.
What?
12.
Yeah, 12. 12.
12 to each.
12 each. Yeah, 12 each. So out of a total of 24 predictions, we've only got 3.
We're so good at this.
That is mad. But I mean, we've made educated guesses the majority of the time, based on the championship and based on form before. It's not like we just randomly picked 3 drivers, like for first, second, and third, and then a random person for pole.
Nah, we did.
Genuinely, no. That's how we'll play it off like that. Just play it off cool, like make it seem as if we weren't trying. But in actual fact, don't tell anyone, but we were actually trying a lot. But it's mad. We probably ought to do a prediction for China. Not that it'll be right whatsoever. But,
Yeah.
I
can start. I mean, pole position.
what are you feeling?
Well, who's good at this track? I don't remember.
Well, you said Prost won in pre-season, so I already know who's winning in my prediction.
Well, that's. I mean, Falcon got pole position last time out. Pepper got the pole position, but there was some issues, so I don't know. Let's go crazy again and say Pepper will get pole position. Just
go on then. Go on now. Actually, I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. But for the win, I don't know if Dan will have his wheel repaired.
Yeah, that's what I'm just gonna disregard it. I'm sorry, Dan.
So that's an issue.
Just for now.
But Callum first, Pepper second, and Prost third.
Right. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
For the single greatest prediction of all time. Right. Okay. Pole position. I'm going in straight in hot. I'm gonna go for Shane in the Williams, and then, but I don't think he's going to win the race. I think it's going to be Prost who will win, because you said that he won in pre-season. So why not again in the real thing? Callum second, and then Shane in third. Oh, interesting prediction. We're just going to be wrong, but still,
the scenes when we get everything wrong.
The unbelievable scenes. When we've got what? Hang on. We'd have 32 predictions. You know what? Forget it. Forget the maths. let's just say we're probably going to be wrong. Let's be honest. Yeah. But again, if anyone has any predictions for this race, drop them in the comment section because we'd love to see them.
They'll probably be
right.
They'll probably be better than ours.
Yeah, they probably will be. That's the sad thing. That's the sad truth.
Can you imagine someone in the first attempt getting more points than we already have throughout these 3 races? That would be.
I can imagine that happening quite easily. That's the worst part. But yeah.
That'd be embarrassing. Please take our spots at the commentators and just.
Yeah. You guys can have a talk show. We don't want it anymore.
But Yeah, introducing now our facts of the week for the Chinese Grand Prix, or as Matt would say, Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's the one.
That was a terrible.
Chinese Hong Prix. That's the one.
But yeah, Niran, do you want to start with the first fact?
Yeah, I am going to indeed. So, 4 times so far in China, the gap of the gap in qualifying, between pole and second has been less than 0.2 seconds, so 0.2 of a second, with the smallest margin being in Season 10, where the pole sitter was just 7/100ths ahead of second. That's, I mean, it's quite a long lap in China, but when you think about it, that's not actually that small a gap, really. I mean, didn't we had in Brazil like 4 people covered by 7/100ths of a second or something ridiculous like that. So, but I suppose China's a bit of a longer lap, but yeah, we'll be hoping for slightly closer racing or slightly closer pole and second than 0.2 seconds. We want it to be as close as possible in qualifying, because that means it's going to be as close as possible in the race as well.
I mean, with the field we have, I wouldn't vote against it. But it depends, because some guys are faster on long stints than one quali lap, so
yeah, exactly.
I don't know, we'll see. Going to fact number 2, fastest pole time around China belongs to AORJames UK in Season 6 with a 1:32.549. This was on F1 2012. In comparison, Falcon's pole lap in Season 10 was less than a tenth faster than the time he posted in Season 6, right? Which gave him 9th on the grid.
That is mad. What the hell?
So we've been saying F1 2013 is quicker.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the quickest games out
Yeah.
of the 4.
Yeah.
We come
Evidently
now
not.
to this. What?
Ninth on the grid. That's insane. That's like, what? I don't even understand that. That's mad.
I mean, the pole lap from Falcon is nearly a second slower than Season 6 pole time.
Yeah. That's mad.
Man.
That's actually mad. That just like shows the progression of the seasons as well. That's it. It's like there was like a stat in Formula 1 where someone was like in a GP2 car was faster than
Exactly.
an F1 car like pole from like 2030. I was like, what? How does that even happen? But yeah, clearly that transfers over to PS3 AOR as well. That sort of shenanigan. That's mad. But anyway, moving on from the madness. This is a fairly short and blunt one. This next one. No one has ever won the Chinese Grand Prix twice. That's just the end. That's the fact. But you know, there's not actually an opportunity for anyone to do that this time, is there? I don't think anyone in the field this year has won the Chinese Grand Prix before.
No.
So that stat is gonna continue into next season, no matter what happens. I suppose it carries on with the trend of just champions winning this championship and then deciding to just leave afterwards. So the likelihood of you getting a 2-time winner is pretty slim, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, personally, it's not a track I would like have as an objective win twice anyway. But it's still, I mean, I don't know. It's not like we've seen this too many times. I mean, US there was someone who has already won it twice. Brazil, I don't think so, but Australia, I do think so. So I mean, we're kind of alternating between tracks, I guess.
Yeah.
Going to fact number 4, and I'm really sad about this one. It never rained at China before. No rain in quali, no rain in race. So I'm hoping there's a change for this season.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we've just had rain in Austin. Be nice if we got 2 rain-affected races in a row, but it seems as if the rain dance of China isn't a very effective one, because that's mad. No qualifying rain or race rain. What the hell? You know what? I'm not holding out much expectation for a wet race this time round after that stat. That's a shame though, because as we know from Austin, a lovely bit of damp weather does tend to make the race a lot more interesting than it possibly could have been.
And it can even be the qualifying, doesn't need to be the race. I mean, just
Exactly.
Mix
Just
up the grid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mix up the grid. That's all we're asking for. Come on, Codemasters, make it happen. Anyway, fact number 5 after that then is the Sauber is the team with the most wins with 2. But McLaren is the only team to have achieved a 1-2 finish in season 9. So I guess that stat is basically what it says on the tin. Again, it's a pretty similar stat to one that we've had in most of the races, where there's not many teams that have won a race more than twice, because there's not really a developed dominant team in this championship's history. But I think that's the first time we've had a stat about a 1-2 finish as well. Williams will be hoping to recreate that, or well, I suppose all the teams will be hoping to recreate that, but I think probably Williams have the most realistic chance of doing that in China this time.
Yeah.
But they'll be hoping to smash that record and make it so that McLaren are not the only team to have achieved a 1-2.
Yeah, I mean, and their rivals, like British rivals, so...
Exactly. And we all know that Brits thrive in this league.
Yeah.
So whether that be British teams, I don't know if that same rule applies even. Anyway, but yeah, so Williams will be hoping, and I'm sure Ferrari, potentially Red Bull, you never know, professionals on a bit of a high now after that podium in America. We'll have to see. We'll see what goes down.
And speaking of American, fact number 6, like United States, there was only 2 times where the champion has won the Chinese Grand Prix of that season.
Not a track where the champion likes to win. So
No.
what? So we had Shane win in America. That automatically means he's not going to win the championship. Sorry, Shane.
Especially if he wins the Chinese Grand Prix, no, you're over.
Yeah, now it's completely done. That's donezo. That's the end for Shane's title bid. But I'm sure, given the closeness of the field, we probably will get a different race winner, I suppose. So it's more likely that one of those 2 stats will be broken by the end of the season. I suppose it's just quite a random occurrence that out of 6 championships that we have on 6 championships we have on record, that the champion doesn't usually tend to win in America or China. I guess it's just a track that throws up more surprises.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, and it would be quite nice actually to have a 4th different winner on the season. Are we back to 2012? Yeah.
Yeah.
7 different winners. That would be out of.
Can you imagine? Are we back in time or something if that happened? Jesus.
That would be fantastic.
If there were to be 7 winners, who would they be though? I mean, we've already had We've had Shane, Callum, we've had Pepper.
What, Dan? Hammer Time?
Dan and Hammer Time are
and
probably
Prost.
Most likely. Prost. I predicted him to win in China, so you better do the job for me. And then random Mazice win or something, or Brown or something like that. Maybe. That would be sick. Make it happen, lads. Make it happen. Anyway, getting distracted. Right. The next fact then, fact number 7, is that Ferrari is the only team yet to achieve a podium in China. Come on, Pepper and Mazice, you need to change that today. Not today, next week. Because that's a strange fact as well. Like, out of all of the teams on F1 2013, only 1 team has not finished on the podium. That's just shows how mixed up the teams are from season to season.
Yeah, Ferrari hasn't been having very good drivers at US and China apparently.
yeah, apparently so. I have a phobia of both the tracks.
Yeah, not very good. Not very good to them. But going to fact number 8, the Chinese Grand Prix winner started from the front row 5 times in 6 possible, with season 9 being the exception, where the winner started 4th.
Yeah, so we're qualifying is vital, is what we're trying to say. At this point in time.
Maybe not vital, considering the races we have been
that's
watching.
a point. Yeah, that's a very good point actually. It's helpful. So we're talking to you, Callum, mainly. If you could actually take part in qualifying this time, that would probably help you a lot. But as you said, it's not vital. It's probably very helpful at a track like this, apparently. But for this season, we've just seen so much carnage and action and random things happening that it's very likely that stat will be blown to pieces.
Yeah. Callum doesn't need to qualify because none of us predicted him for pole position, so he might just start last to prove us wrong and win the race.
That's the point, actually. Yeah, sorry about that, Callum. Well, I think I predicted him to come second, didn't I? So he needs to do a job there. But Yes, anyway, get distracted by my own thoughts. Right, there was only one time where the winner has also got fastest lap, and we're yet to see someone do a Grand Slam at China. And for anyone who doesn't know what the Grand Slam is somehow, it's obviously pole, the winner, and fastest lap. Something that Mercedes tend to do a lot in real life. But, yeah, to be honest, getting a Grand Slam is extremely difficult anyway. You have to have a very dominant weekend. I think, did Shane, did he do the Grand Slam in America?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be an extremely dominant weekend, you know, really good pace the whole way through the race and qualifying to be able to pull that off. So it's not a massive surprise that hasn't actually happened as of yet at this track, because as we've seen so far, it seems to be a track that throws up quite a few surprises in terms of, like, you know, race winners and stuff. Yeah, well, you never know. Who do you reckon? I haven't predicted the person to get pole to actually win, so I can't have this happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not allowing it to happen. But if there was anyone to do the Grand Slam this weekend, who do you think it would be?
Oof. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, that's basically like asking you to choose your favourite child. It's a very difficult one.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Because, I mean, Prost already did very well on the pre-season. Pepper did very good on last season as well until he disconnected and that sort of stuff. Callum obviously has very good pace and Shane's very motivated. So, I don't know, maybe, certainly one of those four.
Yeah, I'd probably agree there. I'd probably say just on previous form, like taking everything else aside, just based on previous form, obviously Shane.
Yeah.
But it's a completely different track to Austin, and the conditions are going to be completely different. The ability of each driver around the track is going to be completely different. So it's I suppose it's not as simple as that. But I would probably agree.
Yeah. Going to the last fact, and guess what? Britain dominated.
I can't believe it. Oh wait, I can.
Denmark, Spain, and Greece have one win each at China, but guess what? Britain is yet again the country with more wins, with 3.
Shock horror. This is an outrage. That's Denmark, Spain, and Greece. Those are some really random nationalities to have winners at this Grand Prix. I don't think I know any Danish league racers actually. But anyway, yeah. So again, I mean, it's the same sort of theme, isn't it? Again, Britain with just the majority of the drivers, and so therefore they're more likely to do well in races because there's just more of them. They're everywhere. They're taking over.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Silverstone facts, you know.
No, I'm not.
There's been 17 different British podium scorers in Silverstone, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, Britain seemed to dominate everywhere else, so some of the non-British drivers will be hoping they can throw a spanner in the works then in China.
And we have quite a few. We have Pepper from Portugal, Mazas from Latvia, Professional from United States, Brown from Italy, Prost from Argentina, Vettel from Argentina. We have
the whole Argentinian squad, isn't there? Yeah, there's probably a better balance this year. I mean, how many British drivers are there actually? There's Dan, Callum, Shane, and it's Hammer Time. That's kind of it, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. So there's a lot more of a balance this time, although 3 of those 4 are extremely well. I think you could say all 4 have a chance of winning a race this season. So there might be less of them this time around, but they're a lot more competitive, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, there are 3 Argentinians against 4 British, so...
Yeah, I don't know, why has there been such an Argentinian takeover? I was always wondering that, but it's nice to see. Because I'm guessing there probably aren't... Are there Argentinian leagues? I don't know, but...
It's probably hard to see, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but yeah.
Lag?
Yeah, I was thinking that, actually. But they seem to be able to cope with it pretty well, so they've all been doing pretty decent so far this season.
Yeah.
It's their attendance that's letting them down a little bit. The actual racing, their pace has been pretty good every single race, I think any of them have struggled so far this season. Prost's look really competitive, apart from disconnections. Beloff looked good in his one race. Vettel's looked good in his one race so far. So, yeah, good effort from him.
Yeah,
Never know. Maybe we'll see an Argentinian on a podium this weekend.
Well, we already seen one in Australia, so...
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Beloff doing the job.
Not Beloff, Prost.
Prost?
Yes!
Prost got a podium. Where did Beloff come then?
4th.
Oh, that's why, you see.
No,
That's
not
why.
4th. 5th.
Ah, damn it. I think didn't he get a penalty or
Yeah.
something? That was it. Yeah, sorry. I'm being a monk. Anyway, yeah. So, sorry. Apologies, Prost. Well done on your podium. I'll be hoping you get a win this time so that my prediction will be right.
No, Callum will clearly win.
Well, I suppose for those watching, if you want to know who wins, then obviously you got to pay attention to the stream. What time and day is it again?
Sunday, well, James will probably start at like 10 minutes to 8, so make sure you're in his channel for around that time to start watching what, for me, hopefully will be a wet qualifying and then an amazing race.
Yeah.
Around the Shanghai International Circuit. But that concludes our facts with a bit of science and madness and everything that usually is in.
Yeah.
And well,
There's
we
a bit of
hope.
maths in there as well.
What?
I think there was a bit of maths in there as well at some point. But anyway,
Yeah.
That's beyond the point. Maybe just me counting. That's enough maths for me.
Very very interesting maths. Always taking place, especially from Niran. I mean, James had the best maths of the race Sunday.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. What? 12 minus 2 is 8. Okay, James. All right then. Okay then. Yeah, but yeah,
fantastic.
we're
But
getting
yeah,
sidetracked.
unfortunately, that's today's episode. Coughing. Yes. That's today's episode done and dusted. I mean, it was just a pleasure to be here. Just messing around, basically, talking
Yeah,
about what
realistically.
happened and what could possibly happen this Sunday at China. Obviously, it's fantastic to see that you guys love this as much as we do. So, as always, a big thank you for you guys to keep loving this series, and hopefully there will be a lot more on the way. But for me, that's all.
And yeah, that's pretty much it from me as well. I hope you guys enjoy the race if you go ahead and watch it on Sunday. And I'm sure it'll be an absolute stunner, as it always is. But yeah, that's it from Pepper, and that is it from me for the 5th episode of the AOR Talk Show. Hope you have a good weekend watching F1 and the such like, and we'll see you later.
Or maybe next week. We don't know.
Oh yeah, that's the point actually. later next week sometime.